Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached a point of organized anarchy. Yes, there's absolutely no respect for the rule of law, the justice system, or British values. So we have the Remembrance Weekend coming up. The Metropolitan Police decided to go and beg the organizers, the anti-Israel protesters, not to protest, instead of actually ordering them. But we've already covered the whole debate about free protests, free speech versus essentially stopping something from inciting violence. We already had that debate in the previous video, but these are the organizers. They've released a statement after the police begged them not to do the protests. We will be marching on the 11th of November, our statement in response to the Met Police. Now, when you read this, there are points of it where you're like, well, okay, makes sense. But there's a massive but behind it. We are deeply concerned that the statement released by the Metropolitan Police with regard to our proposed march on the 11th of November. We have been meeting with the police regularly in the past few weeks to maximize public safety in the large-scale protests that we have been organizing. These protests have brought in total over 1 million people to the streets of London, marching peacefully, calling for a ceasefire. Okay, correct this. Peacefully? Nope. Ceasefire, you mean surrender. It's not ceasefire, it's surrender. Just be honest with the public, but okay. We met earlier today with the police to finalize the route details of the planned march on Saturday, going from Marble Arch to the US Embassy. Now it's America's fault, apparently. Well away from the centre of London and Whitehall. At that meeting, the police made clear, as reaffirmed in their statement, that the marches we had organised had been overwhelmingly peaceful, with low levels of arrests. See, this is the police's fault. So technically, if this is what they say has happened, and I have a feeling it probably happened, that the police told them that, then I'm shifting the blame towards the police now, because they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know. It seems to be they are so scared of the organisers and of these protesters say, yeah, everything's been peaceful. You have not been attacking our police officers or throwing or aiming fireworks at them. And inciting violence when it came to any Jewish person. We also, if you have been following all the news, last night, unfortunately, a Jewish man in Los Angeles lost his life because he was targeted by an anti-Israeli protester as well. So we've covered that as well. Anyway, they said they asked us to consider not marching this Saturday and postponing for a week because of the sensitivity of the weekend. It is categorically not true that the police told us that it was not appropriate to protest this weekend. They raised a concern about the possibility of breakaway groups leaving the march, but were not able to provide any evidence as to why this risk would be increased on the 11th. It's not about the increasing of the risk. It's the existence of the risk. So I do not care about the organisers and what they say and the relationship they have with the police, because if you've been to any protest, or if you've seen any protest on TV, you can see, you got the stewards, you got all the organisers, in any protest, any movement, and you got the police walking together. But they cannot and will never be able to control every single protester. Breakaway groups happen all the time, every protest, and they don't even go home after, when the curfew comes up and everything else. So how are you supposed to be controlling a bunch of nutters who are going to go towards potentially Whitehall, even if you're going towards Marble Arch or Hyde Park? So it doesn't matter what the police say, it doesn't matter what the organisers say, that, oh yeah, we've had a conversation, we have a plan. What plan? That's why when we say you shouldn't protest, we are talking about the breakaway idiots. As we made clear in the meeting, we recognise the political pressure being placed on the police by the government. And the right-wing political groups. However, we emphasize that they had and have a responsibility to withstand that pressure and act to uphold democratic freedoms, including the right to protest. Oh, shut up. Those mounting pressure are the same voices actively resisting the call for a ceasefire, surrender, despite overwhelming public support for that call. When was the last time you guys actually asked Hamas to stop attacking Israel? When was the last time you guys actually demanded a peace deal or a two-state solution? When was the last time? Never. It's on you. The idea that it's acceptable for Israel to blah, blah, blah. Yeah, the usual propaganda that you've been hearing on BBC and CNN every single day. Yeah, we're going to be protesting Hyde Park, the US Embassy. Apparently it's America's fault now. I don't understand. Also, when they say stupid things like this, it makes me angry because They force me to defend America, and I do not want to defend America or Joe Biden's stupid warmonger government. But you're making no sense. And now they're having conversations in terms of the White House and the Pentagon in terms of intervention, and I'm not really in favor of that. But for now, you're just protesting, you're just shouting at everything that you see. They're shouting at McDonald's, they're shouting at KFC, they're shouting at Tousi, they're shouting at the US Embassy. Just shut up. Take a break. Have a Kit Kat.